What's your name?
I'm Jason Fenton, Dr. Jason Fenton, and I'm from Machal, the Mitnadvei Chutz La'aretz, the volunteers from outside of Israel who volunteered in 1948 to fight for Israel when they were invaded by 5 professional Arab armies. And we wanted to make sure that Israel would survive. And so about 4,000 volunteers from the States, from Canada, I came from England, from South Africa, from 29 countries volunteered to help out if they possibly could.
How did you help out?
How did I help out? You mean when I got to Israel?
Yeah.
Okay. I was supposed to be in the Air Force, but my pilot training was very mediocre. I was only 16, and my brother had already been wounded in one of the severe battles for Fallujah in the Negev desert, and he arranged with his commanding officer to come down and grab me before I went off to Czechoslovakia for pilot training, and they took me down to the Negev, where I joined their Negetankim, the anti-tank unit that my brother had been in before he was wounded. And so I served in the Negev Brigade in the Negev, action in Beersheba, action down to liberate Eilat in the south. I did all that I had to do in the artillery, against anti-tank.
Could you show us some of your posters?
Oh, sure. Well, these regretfully are 40 Canadians and Americans, volunteers who gave their lives, who served in the War of Independence and gave their lives. You know all about the Exodus, of course. Aiding the ground forces. In other words, we came in, interestingly enough, this is the German Mauser rifle. It was made for the Nazis by the Czechs. And we did business with the Czechs and we bought rifles. When I finally got a rifle, well, when I first got to Israel, I had to borrow a rifle to go out, on patrol, because we didn't have enough guns to go around. Eventually, I got my own rifle, and guess what? On the stock, there was a Nazi swastika. We had German rifles, and I have to tell you, as much as I hated the swastika, we had a rifle finally to fight and to defend ourselves with, and that was my German Mauser rifle right there. Artillery, I was in the artillery. We had no artillery until we went out with the Palmach, and we used them, and they helped us to conquer guns, to liberate guns from the Egyptians, who had terrific weapons from the Brits, who had trained them. So we'd capture a couple of guns with the Palmach, we train our troops very quickly that night, and then we turn the guns around and zap the Egyptians who were on the other side. So incredible war. We had almost no weapons, but the Hebrew in brera, no alternative. It's like win or be wiped out. And so no alternative, no place to retreat to. So you did what you had to do. We were given 2 weeks to survive by all the military experts.
The Israeli army?
The Israeli, because it was just a hodgepodge. You had 3, you had the Haganah, you had the Irgun, you had the Palmach, not really working very well together. And then you had the volunteers who came in, who had, most of them, military training in World War II. They became the pilots and the guys when we finally got a couple of tanks. My background in my boarding school was, as I say, I was in the Officer Training Corps, and I flew a little plane, So I had some background. I wasn't totally inept. And then I did what I had to do, and you learn very quickly when you're in the military.
כל הכבוד.